Hello, welcome back. This is the podcast video by Bookie Bookie for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. This podcast video assumes that you have read the book because we will be spoiling the hell out of it.
Yep.
We'll be going into more or less a freeform discussion. I have with me today Arjen.
Hello.
And Dino.
Hello.
And I am Dylan, and let's get started with the very first question on this list. Do you like fish? You're going to have to like fish if you're reading this book.
Really, but you have to like fish. I don't like fish. And
I used to like fish.
I don't like fish at all. And they have Verne has the tendency to, not just describe the fish, but also the delicacy of the fish. And I was like, I don't like fish. Who eats fish? Fish is not edible. And
what?
Yeah, it is
What?
edible. I don't eat fish.
No?
No,
Oh,
not at all.
Oh,
I think
You're
fish is pretty amazing.
you're a
Most of it.
pescophobe.
Yes.
Nice.
Arjen, I believe you've looked up a very poignant piece of the book in which they describe the fish.
Oh.
It's,
You mean wait. Go on and I will grab the part again.
yeah, so if you haven't read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or maybe it's been a while, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of pages just dedicated to them looking around out of the submarine and being like, these were all the fish we saw.
Yeah.
There is a chapter called 48 hours through the Mediterranean Sea, something
Yeah.
like that. The whole chapter is about these fish are in the Mediterranean Sea. Nothing happens in the whole chapter, just this fish and this fish and this fish and this fish.
Actually, I had to rush my reading of the second part, and what I did was, I was reading it. I was more skimming, and when there was a part which was story, in the sense that there was dialogue between Nemo and Aronnax, or Nemo for Aronnax and the other two prisoners, I would read it. And when it was about fish, I would skim it.
I have done exactly the same.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3 occasions where I was like, oh yeah, this part's about fish, whatever.
There is a part in the book, and please, if I pronounce it the wrong way, don't shoot the messenger.
Don't shoot the piano player.
Yeah, indeed. But it's like 2 pages about this fish and this fish and this fish. So I will start near the end of the second page, where Verne describes the fish.
Oh, no, they're Dr. Aronnax.
Dr. Aronnax, indeed. And it's like, oh yeah, there are boob parrots with fine tongues and orange hues, Corocyanus with golden tail fins, specimens of the Acanthurus nigricans, I don't know how to pronounce, 4-eyed fish from Suriname, etc. This etc. will not prevent me from quoting yet another fish, Conseil will remember for a long while and with good reason. Well, that goes on and on. So even if he says etc., there's more.
You're like, all right.
Sure, thank you. You'll stop.
You.
No, he will not.
Well, the problem with his description of fish and other zoophytes, or hydrophytes, or how mollusks, how he calls it, is not that. First of all, it's very descriptive, and then at the same time, he uses a lot of Latin terms.
Yeah.
So the text is intermingled with these Latin or Greek or the terms which are used to determine fish if you are a biologist. So it's only interesting, or zoologist, and it's only interesting if you are a zoologist or a biologist.
There are parts where it says, you get this fine kind of fish, but fishermen called this fish.
Yeah.
And fishermen from there even called this fish.
Yeah.
There's 3 names for the same fish, and you're like,
I don't know what to do with any one of them.
But that's one of the things of the novel, and I think that's also one of the questions we will address is
The language used.
No,
or-
not so much the language used, but there's so much explanation.
Yes.
Yes, a lot.
This is last month we discussed Of Mice and Men, which was very compact in the sense that everything described was there for a reason,
Yeah.
and this is just the complete antithesis. There's just so much in this book that could have been left out. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, the book is something like 250, 275 pages,
Could have been 70.
and it could have been 70.
Yeah.
There is so
Easy.
well. Let me take in the penultimate chapter. I think Aaron X. He sort of summarizes the journey, and he says, "My nerves calmed down a little, but in a rapid vision in my overexcited brain, I relived my whole life on board the Nautilus, all the happy and unhappy incidents that had marked it since my disappearance from the Abraham Lincoln. The submarine hunting, Torres Strait, the savages of Papua, the running aground, the coral cemetery, the route under Suez, the island of Santorini, the Cretan diver, Vigo Bay, Atlantis, the ice cap, the South Pole, the imprisonment in the ice, the battle with the squid, the storm on the Gulf Stream, the Vengeur, and that terrible scene of the sinking of the vessel with all hands." And in between, that's what happened basically in the book.
Yeah.
And it's intermingled with a lot of descriptions of everything.
Yes, and I think when it's summarized like that, it's like, there's more in this book that happened than I thought. Maybe 70 pages wouldn't stretch it, but yeah, maybe it's a sort of, I don't know, just a pacing thing. Like, we can't be on edge all the time.
But
So-
you don't. A book doesn't have to be on edge all the time, but it's also just you want something to happen. It has to have some purpose and not just fish and
yes.
Yeah,
let's explain how this submarine works.
No,
Yeah.
it's I think you could compare this method of pacing to the things that Dan Brown does with the Da Vinci Code
Yeah.
and such. That there's action-packed bits and story development, but also just some moments to pause and tell about things in the world. Only in those works by Dan Brown, and I'd imagine also in A Journey Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah.
Like there, it's about people and culture and things that are like, oh yeah, all right, sure, that's sort of interesting. And here's just white noise with a lot of fish names, and like, yeah, I bet those are words.
Yeah, and a lot of plant life. So fish are I think a little
more
interesting
exciting
than plant life and mollusks and other
Yeah. A lot of
algae
sponges.
and sponges and cuttlefish and
Yes. But, well, before this entire podcast becomes a discussion of fish as well,
yeah.
let me move on to the next question. What was your favorite adventure? So to make it a little more exciting.
I think being trapped in the ice
For me too.
was really, but it was a bit cliche. But when they were attacked by the Papua, I was like, "Oh, finally, something is happening in this book."
Conflict!
Yeah, though knew they were on an island, which wasn't deserted. It had
You knew they were coming.
yeah. So it was like, okay,
it was really
they will come.
foreshadowed.
They will come, but at least they came, and there was something happening. And then it was explained how the Nautilus worked with electricity again, and I was like, oh, okay.
Now,
And then
what
in
I
the end-
liked in this, what I liked the ice cap. When they were trapped in the ice, and they almost died from
Asphyxiation.
asphyxiation.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yes.
Classification, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had
that
some,
was interesting.
I had some wicked FTL flashbacks. Like, oh, I know this situation. People gonna die today.
Yeah, but the things I liked, I didn't like the adventure so much. Well, the adventures that I also liked were the pearl diving.
Oh, pearl diving, yeah.
Pearl diving with the shark attack and Nemo being a badass and Ned Land.
Being a better badass.
Well, not a better badass, but he killed him with the harpoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was an interesting story. That was an interesting adventure. And what I also liked in a weird sense was when Aronnax went with Nemo and the Hercules guy, and they went to the
forest?
to the underwater forest.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so weird, that passage. It was like, alright, we're gonna catch some fish, we're gonna get some food. And they were walking, and they didn't really encounter anything.
And then they returned.
And then they were like, let's take a nap.
Oh, yes, no.
No, I don't know, but I somehow maybe
let's
because
snipe an albatross.
yeah, but somehow I liked it because it was the first time something happened on the boat.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely better than...
Yeah,
well,
just-
the freedom of Arana was more... came out more. He was, he can leave.
Yeah, I remember reading actually at that point, thinking at that point when I was reading, like, all right, so here's Captain Nemo and his accomplice and the three other main characters, and it's like, all right, we're gonna go underwater hunting. Here's some underwater guns. They're super fucking deadly, and you outnumber us 3 out in 2. Let's go.
There's two out
Two on two.
Two,
Because the first time
Ned Land
didn't
Go
join
with-
them.
Oh,
Because he
alright,
was
that's right.
like, forest underwater? That can't be true.
Well,
Yeah.
if Ned Land had been there, it would be like, pew pew! Right, later guys.
Yeah, but the problem is then that they had to walk all the way to... There was an island, that's true, but it was like a huge wall.
Ned Land wanted to...
Escape.
not also escape, but he wanted to commandeer
Yeah,
or hijack the Nautilus.
Yes.
that's first.
Yeah. But let's continue to the next question.
Yes. I think I'm not sure what there really is to say about this question. But Arjen,
Yeah.
this is your question. Why is the book divided in 2 parts?
That's
and I think
true.
you've read actually something about
Yeah,
it.
I just wanted to show my knowledge, what I read. Because...
It is sort of arbitrary that it's cut in 2 and that you have 2 chapter 1s and 2 chapter 2s.
Yeah, but there is, in my version of the book, at the back of the book there is a part where it is explained.
Okay.
Part 2, the division is an important one, because part 2 was revised before part 1.
All right.
So there was also a gap of a year between the publication of the 2 parts. So
Right.
he first wrote part 2 and later wrote part 1 because, so he says to his father, I haven't tried to obtain articles for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm waiting for the second volume to appear, as the first alone cannot give the idea of the work. So he was like, oh, I wrote a story under the sea, and yeah, but that it doesn't collect all the story, the whole story. So you know what? I wrote more and more fish and more explanation of how a story
Yeah, so
works.
he was like, part 2 isn't complete enough.
Yeah,
Let's make part 1, which
Yeah.
is obviously the better part of the 2.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
This was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah,
It's weird.
Yes, it's.
I just wanted
I think-
to.
Yeah, I think from what I heard, there was a lot of problems with the interaction between writing and editing. Apparently, his editor was sort of
yeah.
notorious for making changes in the novel.
Look, I read
This is
that too.
actually something which would be addressed in a later question, but I'm going to address it anyway. So we never find out in the novel really where Captain Nemo is from and what his story is. How did he get the money for the Nautilus? Why is he so angry at the world? Well, apparently his wife and kids died at some time, but what country is he fighting against? And I read on the Wikipedia that originally
Polish?
yeah, Jules Verne had intended Captain Nemo to be a Polish nobleman, which who had lost his family in a retaliation action by Russia for the Polish uprising against Russia around that time.
Yeah, because in the novel there, at a couple of times it's addressed that Nemo, he calls himself the oppressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And his enemies are the oppressors, and he helps people who are
Being oppressed.
who are being oppressed. Yeah.
Yes. But apparently his editor didn't like it because at that time France and Russia were friends and they didn't want to damage that relationship. So they revised it to Captain Nemo being from India, I think.
Yeah, and the British were rivals. It's always been
Yeah.
rivalry between France
and Britain. Yes. So yes, and then England is the oppressor, and they're like, oh yeah, I mean,
That's okay.
yeah, I mean, our relationship with England is already fucked beyond belief anyway. So
Yeah, that would make sense because you have the story when they go pearl fishing,
Yeah.
and then you have this fisherman, this Indian fisherman who is almost eaten by a shark, and then Nemo saves him from the shark, and then even gives him a pearl necklace.
A string of pearls.
String of pearls.
yes, which is worth a fortune.
Yeah. So he helps that man, and he also helps the Greek. He also helps the people of Creta.
The Crete.
Crete,
Yes.
who were staging an uprising
Against Turkey.
Turkey.
Yes,
of
the Ottoman Empire. Yes,
At the time.
yes, and I think that's one of the few interesting themes in this novel. Maybe even only one of the themes in the novel. Just the duality in Captain Nemo, in that he has this very, very large resentment towards civilization as a whole, almost, but he goes to great ends to help the people who are being oppressed. And in fact, that's sort of what he does. He just goes around and gathers valuables to help the oppressed.
He goes
within
around and comes
society.
around.
Yeah, well, that's what is insinuated.
Yes.
So
We don't know what he's actually doing, because he's also at one point I thought, well, he is. You don't know. This is also one of the questions we will address, or maybe let me go into that question now. Why is he even traveling around?
Yes.
So at one point you think, well, he is traveling around because he hates men, because he wants to be underwater, because he wants to have the freedom of
the sea.
the sea. He loves the sea. He is a scientist. He wants to explore the ocean.
There's a part in the book where he is doing tests on the temperature of the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Anorax is like, why is he doing that? I don't know.
Aronnax.
And I don't know.
Aronnax. Need Anorax.
The main
Well,
character.
He is French, so
Yeah.
Arona. But and he's like, why is he doing that? I don't know. Does it has a purpose? And then, as a reader, you think, oh, it would have a purpose. And
it's like, no, all right. So temperature is sort of constant.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I think that can be forgiven. I think that's sort of a little extra reinforcement of him also having a scientific interest in traveling around.
But you get the impression at the start of the novel that Captain Nemo is making a second journey around the world.
Yeah, that he has done everything.
He has done everything, so he is now doing it again, but then with
I think
Aronnax.
I think it's more than just a second journey. I mean, he obviously has some favorite spots. In the ocean.
The cemetery.
Yes, which he must have found by chance at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if he made a handful of journeys before he even discovered Atlantis. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, but
And the
why?
volcano.
The question remains: why is he? Because he's also making what he does is he has this collection of or
yes.
his always knowledge, and he gathers that in, and he says, well, this is a logbook of all my knowledge. It's written in 7 languages, and I will now seal it in a box, and then I will throw the box in the water, and maybe some people will find it to get all my knowledge of
Yes.
seafaring, and of engineering, and of the sea itself.
Yes.
So, but why is he doing that? And then again, the question, also a question. Okay, he's making this second trip around the world, or he's making this trip around the world with the 3,
Yeah.
with the
The
other
captives.
3 with the captives. But why is he showing them? Does he seek some kind of?
Well, I think he has a little. I think he likes Honorau a bit. I think
not Anora.
Arona.
Arona.
I think, but he likes
professor.
him.
The professor.
The professor. He likes him. I think in a certain way, because he can finally spur out his knowledge about everything.
Yeah, and it's actually being appreciated.
yeah, and the professor also has. Oh yeah.
Tell me more about how a submarine works. Yeah.
Oh, the submarine.
Oh, the submarine. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So it's weird.
Yeah, but I think he likes him. It's just another someone else of the same profession,
Yeah, that's true.
and I think that is
That
something
could be
that Verne wanted to put in the book. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not sure, of course, because I haven't talked to Verne.
I think the book is just Verne being, well, I'm gonna write a world tour adventure story of the underworld of the underwater world,
yes,
and I need a story. So
I'm still of the opinion that he wrote the journey around the world in 80 days.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, this is successful. I want to write something else like this. Oh, wait, I've already covered the entire world.
yeah, well, then now we go to the underwater world, and
Yeah, we'll go to
but
the underwater world.
But now I need a story. Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
But he has a story about going to the moon. So what do we do? You know,
Well, the story. What the story reminds me a lot of is, if you have these, because we have to acknowledge that the book is written in
1870.
1869.
Yeah, around
Well,
that time.
around that time, yes.
Yeah, and well, there was in the 17th century and the 18th century and even the 16th century, there was this profession, or there was this habit of writing travelogues.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you had these people, often they became famous for, well, having traveled the world and, well, relaying their story.
Yeah.
Yes, and all the things they saw.
Yeah, and all the things they saw, and they what they did was, to appear genuine, or to give written proof of having been around the world. They would write extensively on all details of their
Yes.
journeys. So, for instance, they went to India and to Persia. Then they would write down all what they saw and everything, and that's actually what he is doing here, but then more in a scientific manner.
Yes.
That's actually what Arona is doing. So, I made this unbelievable trip. Let me write down all what I've seen, so you may believe what I've seen.
Yes. All right, I think we're going to have to progress a little quicker through the questions. To continue on with the next one, did you find the ending weak? I know I did.
Yeah. No, the ending was so.
Because, I believe we have slightly different versions, but it all ends in the same way.
Yeah.
with us, right? So,
But the ending is like, all right, now it's a conclusion of the story. All right, how they escaped the Nautilus, but
But how?
How?
I don't even. Yeah,
it's just he was knocked unconscious, and he came back to consciousness, and he was in Norway.
Yeah, on the Lofoten.
and it was all right.
And
Yeah.
Yes, it's. I was.
What actually happens, because we are talking about it now, but what happens is that the Nautilus and Nemo are
Called in Maelstrom.
yeah, they are caught in the maelstrom in the seas around Norway, and then at the same time, because they didn't know there was a maelstrom, they
Ned Land wanted to
Ned
escape.
Land wants to escape. So the three of them, Ned Land, Conseil, and Arona, they climb in the dinghy in the boat of the Nautilus, and they didn't see that there was a maelstrom coming, and suddenly there's the maelstrom, and suddenly, well,
and they're knocked out.
and they're knocked out.
And I'm like, oh, they did. Oh, they did. Because they're just describing how the Maelstrom is going to fucking pulverize
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Nautilus and leave nothing alive. And then it's like, oh, we were knocked unconscious and then we woke up. How we survived? Oh, I don't know. Just don't ask those such
It was just suddenly like
It's a bit like okay, for those who haven't read The Hobbit, please close
Yeah.
your ears. It's a bit like when Bilbo is watching the Battle of the Five Armies, and then
no, but that is explained after.
yeah, okay, but he's knocked unconscious, and then come the eagles, and that's maybe they have been rescued by the eagles.
Yeah, but afterwards, it's like in the Hobbit. It's afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
It's explained.
Yeah, that's true.
And here
Yes,
it
but
isn't explained. There
but I
is
mean,
no
I think-
explanation at all.
I think in The Hobbit it serves a purpose. I mean, Bilbo is not a warrior.
No,
so
not at
he
all.
has.
But maybe we should read the Hobbit and then discuss the
Yeah,
Hobbit.
okay.
Yeah, all right. But
The ending of
but
The Hobbit
anyway,
is better. That's,
But anyway, here in this story, it's like, how are they going to make it out alive? Just how?
Yeah.
I'm invested. Tell me. And it's like, oh, we don't know.
Uh,
They just did.
I just read the ending and I was like, you know what had been a better ending if Arona had written it all down inside Nautilus and Nemo was reading the story Arona had written, so that if Nemo would be the one that was reading the book. So you were reading with Nemo.
Yeah, and
That would be
okay.
Nemo would have survived because he just would have had a contraption in the Nautilus
Yeah.
that kept him alive.
and he was reading the
That would have been something,
journey
yeah.
of Arona. That would really be like,
That,
I think, a good ending.
that would be
yeah.
some M. Night Shyamalan shit.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but-
but then again, we have to remember this is a book from 1870,
Yeah,
and
I know,
and it's
but-
actually just a travelogue.
Yeah, but
So that explains why it's maybe
I think-
doesn't really address, but it addresses why there's this stupid ending.
I think almost any ending would have been better.
Yeah,
than this.
yeah.
Especially in the book, which is so overly
Yeah,
explained.
but if there had been a little explanation of how, okay, then it was good.
Yeah, but I think
I still would have wished my eyebrows.
Yeah.
Sure,
But because it's also I addressed this earlier, but I think the book is full of explanations, so that the things which are not explained become an even greater mystery. So
Especially because those are the things that we do want to hear.
yeah. So this is this is the true proof. So he's okay. I went on this journey. I have proof because I've saw this and this and this and this and this. But there are also these very mysterious things, and because of the things which I do now, I have all this proof. So these things, they become really mysterious.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was a sort of a cop out. Like, all right,
Yeah,
we need to
that's true.
we need to clean up the Nautilus, clean up the story, clean up Nemo, but we do need to do it in sort of ambiguous way so that maybe we can write a sequel.
Wait,
Yeah.
but the publisher, the editor, I'm wondering if Vern maybe had another ending. That's something I'm wondering
Yeah,
about.
that could be.
That could be that he, maybe like all of the written work was put in a box and found at some point, and then the editor was like, "No, I don't want him to die.
No.
I want there to be a possibility of a sequel.
Yeah.
I want there to be a possibility of a sequel."
Secret. Well, another question.
Yes. We've mentioned how just when they try to escape, there's a maelstrom.
Yeah.
the next question ties into this. Were you, like I, bothered by the fortunate timing that that seemed to always occur? Like it starts in the very first parts of the book where they're still thinking they're hunting a narwhal,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "All right, we can't find it. All right, 24 hours, and then we're going back."
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 24 hours, it's like, "Oh, it's over there."
yeah.
It's just it's so I'm not sure if I'm using the term Deus ex machina correct, but it's just very fortunate timing after very fortunate timing.
that- You noticed earlier the stories of Dan Brown.
Also do this.
It also has a lot of fortunate timings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a Jules Verne staple,
Yeah.
and it's a sort of it's a way of building tension, I guess, and having a sort of climactic whoa. But it does not work for me. I mean,
No. But
he
this
knows how
is
to
a problem of a lot of
adventure stories.
adventure stories, or just stories in general.
Yeah, all right, sure.
Everything was going wrong until suddenly.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, one could argue that Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, like, oh, and there's Gandalf.
But he said he would come
Yeah.
Yes.
on that day.
Yes,
This-
and I think that's better handled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't quite read as much fantasy and sci-fi stories as you do, I think, both of you. So I'm not sure if adventure stories and adventure tropes have gotten better in the last century, but
Wow.
Well, if you're into the
the Fellowship story or
no, the fellowship stories are always
the same, yeah.
yeah, there are always have a fellowship and always just one who you can't trust and well, but if you there is this trend in
Fantasyland.
Fantasyland, and that's actually I would say it's the George Martin
Yeah.
trend, and that's that we make matters more of less white black and white.
Yeah, very grey.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
becomes gray. All the characters are evil.
And good
There is
at
no
the same time.
no. There's not really. There are not really the good guys, and the good guys are always the ones who die first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
they are also not really evil. They're
Yeah.
just human.
yeah, and I think that's a pretty natural response to stories for so many ages being about good versus evil.
Yeah.
Now, people get sick of it after a
Yeah.
while, I suppose.
And that's because we want stories to relate more
To
to
us.
ourselves.
And I think that's one of the things this book does deserve a compliment for. Captain Nemo not really being a good guy or a bad guy, or
Yeah.
actually he's sort of portrayed as a sage and then a liberator and then just a fucking bloodthirsty pirate.
Yeah.
I think that's done very well.
Yeah.
Just the moment he rolls out that black flag, I'm like, oh wow.
yeah.
What did you do?
Oh, and I mean, I have to address this because it's not in the questions, and I'm going to forget otherwise. But we were talking about it on the way here. The scene where there's these whales,
Yeah.
and Ned Land
yeah.
is like, I want to hunt some whales, and Captain Nemo's like, no, those are noble creatures.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, sure.
And then there are coming another kind of wheels.
Well,
Oh, those are bad. We can fuck those up.
Yeah.
yeah. But we have to make the distinction. And it's a little bit explained in the rest of the story, I think. Nemo hates oppression,
Yeah.
and Nemo hates the big guys.
oppressors. Yeah,
The
right,
oppressors.
fair enough.
So and you have these Antarctic whales, which are like blue whales. So that's the huge with the baleines, what I don't know.
I have no idea.
The fish who eat, the whales who ate krill.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the nice whales, and then you have the other. Those are
Yeah,
sperm whales,
sperm whales,
and
yes.
those are flesh eaters. So
Yeah.
they eat other whales,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes. Actually, we see a similar thing in The Old Man and the Sea, where the marlin
yeah.
is noble and the sharks are evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the sperm whale is Moby Dick is also about a giant sperm whale,
Yes.
and those sperm whales are just they're not
They're bad
seen
whales.
as they're the bad whales.
Yes.
in
in a
English
time
literature.
in a time where you had good fish and bad fish, and not yet the intricate grey fish.
Crayfish.
But yeah, I mean that scene. It's like, all right, so no, don't touch those whales. Or no, these are noble creatures. Like, all right, sure. Oh, but we can fuck those whales up, and they just massacre them.
Yeah.
And they're literally just in a sea of blood. They're just floating around, and then they see this mother whale who has perished with the baby still by their side, and like, oh, there's a baby whale and he's dead. Who wants some whale milk? Come on. Oh, it's great.
It's just like cow's milk.
Yeah, but that's different.
Oh, Professor, do you want some whale milk?
No,
no,
I don't want to.
Ah, come on.
Okay, oh, it's quite good.
And
All this fucking time.
And this is an important point for Ned Land to really reaffirm his hatred of Nemo,
Yeah.
or his resentment. And I agree.
He goes into silent, like, for the rest of the story. It says
No,
nothing.
is that true? Are the whales before or after the Arctic?
After the
After.
Arctic, I think.
Right after the Arctic, because Ned Land is already annoyed due to the being stuck in and almost dying, and then it was like Arana is like, oh, this can cheer you up. Look, whales. You like to hunt whales? Oh yeah, I love. Let's go ask Nemo. Okay, ask Nemo. No, you can't do that. And so he's even more annoyed by.
I'm not sure. Let me look it up.
All right, you can look it up, and I'll continue on with the next question, with your permission.
Yeah.
The next question is, why is there so much explanation? And I think we sort of addressed that with the travel log, and I think it's something that older sci-fi is
No, the sperm whales are before, indeed.
recognized by.
Yeah, the sperm, and that was the point I wanted to make, because when we have this scene with the sperm whale, and then Ned Land's indeed, well, I don't like this captain, then we have the scene in the ice, and there he's like, okay, I hate being on this boat, I hate being with this captain, but okay, I will.
Yeah, but he still wants to survive.
Yeah, but then he says, I will put in my share, and that remains for a time. So
Yeah, but it's after the ice that he goes silent. Like,
yeah,
I don't say anything.
I have to say that I was a little impressed or positively surprised with the book when they addressed why Ned Land wanted to leave. Like, all right, I mean, for a professor and for Conseil, it's pretty interesting to see these things up close, but it's fucking boring to Ned Land. I mean, if I would have been there, I mean, I'm a very timid person, so I wouldn't rebel. I would make the best out of it, but I would also be just bored to shit. Like, oh, hey, great, more fish.
Yeah, the wonders of the sea.
Well, I mean, on the other hand, there's a library full of books, so I suppose.
in like all the languages of the world.
Yeah, so maybe I could work on my Spanish. Right, so
well, what impressed me, there were two things which impressed me. One because we're quite negative. We're quite negative about the book. I wouldn't recommend it, but I still think it's an okay read.
it's really ups and downs for me.
Yeah.
It has good things and just a lot of them there.
And one of the good things in the book is that there is actually quite a bit of humor. If we're not describing the things we see, if Vern is not describing all the things we see, but when he is describing the interaction between Ned Land, the professor, and Conseil, that's actually very funny.
Yeah. I like the part when just before they go pearl diving.
Yeah.
With Arona just heard of Nemo that there could be sharks, and he's like horrified on sharks. Oh no! And he goes to is going to explain to Ned Land and Conseil about
that they're going pearl diving.
Go pearl diving, and he just a pearl could be worth like 20,000 sharks, and they're Conseil. No, you mean francs? Oh yeah, francs.
Francs.
And like 4 times in a row, he just
Yeah, and you have this scene in which he describes Conchet, and that Conchet and Ned Land are discussing the fish they see, and Ned Land's entire is only interested in
The fruit.
how are they eatable, and then you have Conchet who is very into the categorization of the fish,
Yeah, the classification. Yes.
but he can't he can't seem to
Connect
Yeah,
with Ned Land.
You mean that he knows all of the classifications?
yeah.
But he doesn't know what the fish look like.
Yeah, that indeed. I was
Looking.
stuck with
Yeah.
Dutch words in my head.
Yes. It's it does have its good part. I think if I may say something as blasphemous that this book could do with a reboot or what you call it, a remake, like just a skimmed down version.
But I think there are
isn't-
for children, or versions for children.
I think if you get a children's version, then it's pretty good. It's a pretty good read for kids. It's just
Yeah.
a simple adventure with a little bit of themes and a little bit of like, all right, sure.
And another point that I wanted to make was what I also liked about the book, or which I find interesting, is that it's actually a very progressive book for the time. It's written in 1870, and it goes into quite some detail about oppressed people.
Yes.
Yeah.
How Nemo wants to help the oppressed.
Yes, it's sort of anti-colonialism.
Anti-colonialism. It's progressive in the way that he has envisioned this ship, which entirely runs on electricity, which wasn't a thing back then.
He was fairly accurate about.
Yeah.
No, most of the time.
And he is in a sense very progressive in the way that he sees that the sea is being
Empty.
emptied, and that what mankind is fishing too much and is killing the whales, and so he's actually
But there were
he's actually pretty environmentalist.
Yeah, but there are also a few parts wherein he says, "Oh yeah, this is unexhaustible." Like I think the coal mine in the
yes.
and I was the underwater coal mine. I was no, it's not unexhaustible.
no, but I think he's pretty environmentalist.
Yeah, no,
as well.
that was a thought of me too.
Yeah, and I can see how this book was quite a thing in its time. It sort of shook the world awake.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, it's a little dated now.
yeah.
but
I mean, especially with the sci-fi stuff, like, oh
yeah,
wow,
it's more the steampunk.
an electric fence. Yeah. But
Jules Verne is seen as one of the forefathers of the steampunk,
oh really?
together with H.G. Wells.
All right,
which is
yes.
somewhat later.
Yeah.
Yes, can we? No, not really address it, but I think it deserves mentioning that H.G. Wells did the explanation things a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, he does give a bit of an opinion about it, but with a sort of annotation like, I could be wrong, this is just my observation, and he knows when to shut up.
And Verne is more like, listen.
Yeah, and submarines, and you can take like two hulls and you put them together with T-joints, and then you need this amount of space for air to fill in. So.
And like, because my ship is this big, I need this much water so I can dive. Mm-hmm. But if I do a little bit more money, I can really dive. Okay.
Yes, I would not have read this entire book if we weren't going to discuss it, because it's just part one is such a turn off. But well, anyway, if we may continue on to the next question, are the characters round or flat? It's become a staple in this podcast.
I think Arona, I think is most flat character. He's quite the same through the story. Cosset is really like, then he's in the beginning he's really like only to the professor, like, oh yeah, I'm your manservant, and then he gets friendly with
Ned Land.
Ned Land, and then he never has an opinion about things, and then suddenly he also has opinions about. All right, yeah, maybe we should do this.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think the how are they called? I think Ned Land and Conseil are the most flat of the two. In the sense that, and I think that Nemo is a round character.
Yeah.
And
Or
I
at
think
least-
Arona is also a round character in the way that he doesn't know, do I want to be the scientist who travels around the world with Nemo? Or do I want to be free from my imprisonment? Because that's for me is one of the big themes of the book. Freedom and imprisonment. Because they are imprisoned on this boat, but at the same time...
They're free.
They're free from the human yoke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But- I think also Ned Land, maybe he stays the same kind of character, but his characterizations are growing throughout the book.
Yeah.
It's becomes more extreme in his opinions.
yeah, it's he's definitely being worn out
Yeah.
and driven to the edge. And I think indeed the professor makes some very
It's the most philosophical of the...
yes,
of the
and
characters.
he makes a turnabout indeed in his opinion of staying or leaving, but that's actually I think mainly circumstantial. It's Captain Nemo changes, or his view of Captain Nemo changes.
Yeah,
and then
as,
he's like,
as Captain Nemo changes.
yeah, as Captain Nemo changes, his intentions change as well. I personally am of the opinion that Ned Land has one character trait. He's a hunter man. He's like the archetype of a Magic the Gathering green character. He just wants to eat and hunt and not be ruled by people.
He's a bit like you have in the Tarzan Disney movie. You have Clayton, that's the hunter guy.
Oh yeah. No, I guess Clayton is more villainous.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
villain.
But and then the professor sort of has no personality to me, but that's a little cutting it short. And then Conseil has two personalities. He's like at one point he's like, I don't give a fuck, but at the other moment he's like, oh wow.
Conseil is quite funny with his. He's always talking in third person,
Yeah,
and there's one moment when he's almost dying that he suddenly is help me. I was like, you can do that.
yeah. I always imagined Conseil speaking in a sort of a butler voice. Would master like another pastry? It would be wise to space the feet more.
Yeah, I think Conseil is there for the
Comic relief.
comic relief indeed, and then you have Aronnax as the Arona, as the he's our viewpoint because he's a narrator, and we have
Ned Land.
Ned Land as bringing the tension.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think Ned Land is a very important part in the progression of the story. It's I think we don't have Jay with us to discuss the book today, but I think he would be especially annoyed with how long it takes the story to get to some actual conflict.
Yeah.
Because I think when Ned Land starts to form his actual escape plans, that's sort of when there's a first real conflict in the story, and that's like page 150 or something.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. I think we have time for two more questions. I've not kept track of time very well. Excuse me. The next question on the list is there a villain, and how can you describe the character of Nemo? And I guess we've talked a bit about Nemo and his sort of being a Robin Hood at the one point, and just...
I don't think he's really a villain.
No.
He's
Yeah,
he has a revenge.
he becomes one at the end,
Yeah.
more or less.
more or less.
And I think that's well
But
done.
I've seen a lot of films where Nemo also is represented, and in most of the films he is represented as some sort of villain.
And I can see why. I think Captain Nemo is definitely the most interesting character in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because we never learn to know him.
well, true, he's very mysterious, but he's also
He has a dark and mysterious past.
he's also a very charismatic, intelligent person,
Yeah.
and someone
He
to
knows
really
like everything.
yeah, and he's really someone to look up to. He's almost a sort of Renaissance man sort of character, but he his thirst for vengeance just puts him towards madness. It's a tragic it's a tragic story in the sense that it is like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah.
It's just we have an almost heroic character, a very good, respectable character. Something happens to him outside of his control. He's losing his family, and then he plunges into madness and goes too far.
Yeah. True.
All right. Let's see. We've got 3 questions left on the list. Do I say this correctly? Oh, no, there's more than those, but we're going to have to just pick 1 or 2. Well, we've already talked about what Nemo's story was. Apparently,
Yeah.
it's never really revealed in
the book.
In the book, but in the sequel, they do
Mysterious
discuss
Island.
it. Yes. What do you think though? Is the sequel? Does it look tempting to you? It sort of sounds like a fan service thing.
Yeah,
to me,
and I
but-
think maybe I want to read it just to know more about Nemo, because I like to know more about the character, but if it starts with fish again,
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh no.
If I'm really interested, maybe I'll read the Wikipedia
Yeah,
summary.
yeah.
But I would almost say the same about this book, that that you're better off with a summary.
Yeah.
There's not really things being discussed.
But now I think of it, maybe I've seen the movie The Mysterious Island.
Oh right.
I'm not entirely sure.
All right. I'll let the 3 of you pick the next
The
question.
3 of us.
Yeah.
Sorry, the 2 of you. We also have Philby. He's also here. He's a bit shy.
Yeah.
We have left as questions. What is Captain Nemo's goal on the journey? What is the role of the Nautilus in the novel? And how is the time when the book was written reflected in the novel?
Well, maybe we can do the second question.
Yes, I think that's the only
What
one
is
we haven't
Nautilus?
really discussed.
Representing?
What is the role of the Nautilus in the novel? Yeah, and I think that question is more or less twofold. In one sense, what is its symbolic meaning?
Yeah.
And in the other sense, what does it do for the book? And I think, in my opinion, the Nautilus is one of the more interesting things in the
Yeah,
novel.
it is like indestructible.
Yes, it's indestructible, and it has this large, sprawling library inside, and I'm like, oh, and I can... That's really something where I could daydream about just
And a
walking
saloon.
around. Yeah, and the lights and stuff. It's... I mean, an adventure story like this really thrives on the ability of the reader to daydream about being there
Yeah.
on the journey, and I think the way the Nautilus was designed, if we may say such a thing, is instrumental to, at least to me, to being able to daydream along.
Yeah. Well, what I a bit I missed in was the description of how it really looked like. What there's a small description of what it looked like with all the chambers.
Yeah, but it looks like a
I think they mentioned that.
Yeah, the
giant
outer
metal cigar.
Yeah,
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 it's
the,
sort of cigar
the
shape.
outer, but
Yeah.
the inside, the walls.
Yeah,
and-
that's true. And I don't think they explore the entire ship. do
No, they are in a few
No,
rooms.
because
a few
they
rooms.
don't even know how many
People are on board,
how many crew members are on
which
board.
we still don't know.
No, yeah.
we know that 2 died.
And that
Yeah.
they make some estimations about oxygen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there could be
Oh, there
room
was-
for 625 people.
Yeah, 625 indeed.
But that's not how many there are.
How many people do you think were on board?
I think that the 10 they said are quite.
I would guess 50.
I would think I'm in between. I would think around 30.
Yeah, right. Sort of the team like Praxis Zoetermeer. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a big team. I really think it. At the cemetery.
Yeah, but not all of them went.
No,
to the
but those were like 8 indeed. So
I think those were 10. So yeah, that would be half of them or something.
Yeah.
So 20, 30, 20-ish.
All right. I'm going to leave you off with an audience question, which is more or less improvised. But if you have...
But wait, I wanted to discuss the giant narwhal thing.
The giant narwhal thing.
Yeah.
The first 10 pages of the book.
The first 10 pages of the book. Oh, yeah, we don't know what the mysterious thing is. It must be a
You
giant narwhal.
Yes. Yeah, it's like... All right, so...
but it was explained why it could.
Yeah,
Normal
sure.
was most.
No, it's like... All right, so there's accidents at sea.
Yeah.
And they ask a French marine biologist, what do you think it is? Oh, I don't want to give an opinion. Ah, come on. All right, I think it's a giant narwhal.
Yeah, but that's. Like in the whole book, you ask something, he says no. Yes, says it again. Okay, I do it.
All right. Stop
He
pushing.
really
me.
doesn't have a spine. It's like okay, I do it.
But on the other hand, in the first chapters, they all right. So they decide it's a giant narwhal, and they get a ship to hunt it. Like, yeah, fuck up the narwhal, fuck the unicorn, and then the unicorn disappears, and they're like, oh, we're not going. And then he comes back, and they're like, all right, we are going.
And then
then-
oh, we can find it.
and then-
Oh, it is there.
And they send a telegram to Arona with like 2 sentences asking if he wants to go along. And then literally in the book it says 3 seconds later.
Yeah,
I was
but-
like, all right, I want to go.
Yeah.
But I am tired. But I am going anyway.
So I called my manservant.
What a silly book. What a silly book. All right, as an audience question, suppose you had unlimited technology to explore certain places in space or time, maybe even. What would you like to see? Where would you like to go? Maybe not the time thing. We already discussed that in the time machine.
If your answer is fish, don't answer.
Yes, but like, well, would you like to go to the moon or the center of the Earth, or maybe just the world in 80 days? What would your Jules Verne adventure be?
Nice.
All right, I'll leave you to discuss that in the comments. Thank you so very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed at least being able to discuss it along with us. And we will be seeing you next month. We are not quite sure yet, my apologies, what the next book will be, but you will hear in due time. Thank you very much. This was Bookie Bookie, and have a good evening.
Bye-bye.